All right, guys, welcome back. Another video here by Chubby Retro. Another video that I promised when I did the N64 box videos was my Super Nintendo collection. Now, I do not have the boxes for every Super Nintendo game that I owned, but I have quite a few. And so just kind of wanted to go over what I have, and I wanted to kind of take a look at the condition of them as well. So the first one here was Street Fighter 2 Turbo. I remember when we got this game. I believe we got it for Christmas. It was pretty exciting because Street Fighter 2 was, I mean, all the rage. I mean, it still is. But back in the 90s, we would go to a pizza place and they'd have an arcade and you would just sit there and just play and play and play, or even watch people play. If you didn't have any money, any quarters, you would go in there and just watch people play the game. And it was a huge hit. Huge hit. So when it came out, the Turbo Edition on Super Nintendo, it was like, well, it's going to be faster, hyper fighting and what have you. So it was exciting to get this one, and it felt like it was a legit arcade port. I'm sure it wasn't, but it felt like it at the time. So yeah, I mean, pretty good condition, as you see on the spine. Street Fighter 2 Turbo all the way around. A little damage there, but yeah, Street Fighter 2 Turbo. I like the artwork too. Very nice artwork. And then let's see, the next one is going to be NBA Jam Tournament Edition. I remember NBA Jam, once again, in the arcades. It was a hot game, and when they announced that it was basically a perfect port coming to the Super Nintendo, and then later on they announced the Tournament Edition. Truth be told, I don't know what the difference was, but this is the version that we ended up getting, and it was fun. A lot of these arcade games, when they would come to the home consoles, they were fun, and you felt like you were saving money because you didn't have to put all those quarters in the arcade all day long. But yeah, it felt like a pretty smooth and perfect arcade translation, and so we got a lot of hours playing this game. Obviously, we'd be the Lakers, but it was just, and then there was codes, I think, where you can play as like Bill Clinton. You can play as who else? Different guys. It was just like random people that were just like hitting characters in it. So NBA Jam Tournament Edition is another of my boxes here. NFL Quarterback Club. This is a game that once we got our Super Nintendo, then we became more aware of sports and NFL, and we were into football. And so this, I believe, was the first game, or maybe I think maybe we got this one first. Super Play Action Football. And anybody that knows Super Play Action Football, it was just a generic kind of super. I think it was developed by Nintendo, if I'm not mistaken. But it was, it had the actual teams, but it was very, basic, if that's the right word. It was a very basic kind of 8-bit, early 16-bit looking football game. And so we played the heck out of this game. I mean, I should open it up and play it again because it's probably fun to go back and take a look at it. But anyway, so this was the first game I believe we got, and then once Quarterback Club was announced, then it was like, okay, well, this is like legit football. And so we got this game, and I don't know if Madden was already out, but for some reason we chose to go with this. And if you look at it, I mean, it still looks just 16-bit, but just the perspective is different behind it. The quarterback now, but it had all the names of all the players, and it had all these quarterback challenges, like if it was the Pro Bowl. And so we played this game like crazy as well. A lot of good memories playing this game. But yeah, so NFL Quarterback Club. And look, they got some Troy Aikman, Randall Cunningham, Drew Bledsoe, John Elway, Boomer Esiason, Warren Moon, Jeff Hostetler, Jim Kelly, Bernie Kosar, Dan Marino, and Steve Young. Wow, those are some old school guys. But yeah, NFL Quarterback Club. Then we got Mortal Kombat 3. Mortal Kombat 3, another arcade fighting game that translated well to the Super Nintendo. I remember I had a cousin that had a Genesis, and I remember that when Mortal Kombat 1 first came out, I remember that it was Super Nintendo had sweat or something, not blood when you would fight, and the Genesis had blood. And my cousin had the game, and we would go back and forth because I just felt like the quality of the graphics and the gameplay was superior on the Super Nintendo versus the Genesis. The Genesis just had blood. That's all it had. But I mean, I think visually, and it ran better on the Super Nintendo. And so we would go at it, and I still think it's better, Mortal Kombat 1 on the Super Nintendo. Just my opinion, because once you get a Game Genie and you put the code for the blood, now you have blood. Now you're back, even footing. But anyway, so this is Mortal Kombat 3 for the Super Nintendo. Now I remember this game. We went over to a friend of my dad's, a coworker's house, and they had a PlayStation, and that's when the PlayStation first came out. And so it was like, oh my God, can we play? We were kids. Hey, kids, go play in the room. Go play video games or whatever. The adults are here, hanging out. And so we went and they had a PlayStation. The PlayStation, when it had those big original boxes, we were playing the PlayStation, and we got bored of it. And so then we were like, hey, can we play something else? And they had a Super Nintendo. Well, anyway, long story short, in the Super Nintendo, they had this game, and we were big basketball fans. And when we played this game on the Super Nintendo, it felt like, just because I think that the perspective, the angle, it was like, it felt so, modern, so different, so new. And we played and we played and we played the heck out of this game at the house of my dad's friend. And so we asked my parents, what, can you buy that for us? And they ended up buying it for us. And I remember we just played the heck out of this game. I don't know what it was about it, jumping from 8-bit to 16-bit. The perspective, it felt 3D, it felt real, it felt like a real basketball game. I don't know. But we enjoyed the heck out of this game, and we played it like crazy. So yeah, this game brings back good memories. Very fun. Another game that I never thought was going to be so fun, but actually was, this Tiny Toon Adventure Buster Bust Loose game. I think this was like on a whim. I think it was, hey, let's go to Toys R Us for your birthday, pick a game. And so we bought this one, and not knowing much about it, but it was fun. And graphically, it was quite impressive. If you can see, those screenshots, even today, I don't know why, but to me, they seem very, very, very cool. Very crisp, very clean. There was different aspects, different play styles. And yeah, quite enjoyed this game. I have one for Game Boy. I don't have the box, but I have Tiny Toon Adventure games for Game Boy. And that was a good game as well. And then we have Donkey Kong Country. When this game came out, it was just like, wow, never seen something like it before, and it brought new life to the Super Nintendo. So, and I like how the box has like the green leaves on it. Green leaves, it kind of gives you that aesthetic. It looks a little different from just the black borders. But yeah, this is, even the box art, it is iconic. Very, very, very cool. I don't know why I don't have this one in a protective case, but Donkey Kong Country 2 Diddy's Conquest, another one, the sequel, which came out, I think, a year after the first one. And it looked better and it played better. I think some people say this is like the best of the three, if I'm not mistaken. But as you can see, they went back to the black borders versus the green like leaves. And I always liked this only for Nintendo like thing in the corner there. But yeah, Donkey Kong Country 2. Toy Story. Another game that was like pre-rendered, so it looked really good, and surprisingly, it played really well. We enjoyed this game quite a bit. It was a side scroller, but it was surprisingly good. I remember how good the darn game was, and I kind of thought, like, why are we getting Toy Story? I mean, we're not, 5. I mean, we're probably, when this came out, when did this come out? 91? So what, like 9 or 10? 91? How? No, this is not right. The movie didn't come out in, okay, 95. Okay, that makes more sense. Okay, so like I was already a teen. But yeah, Toy Story. Pre-rendered graphics, but it looked really, really good. Really, really good. Simple box, but it was to me, it's one of the top Super Nintendo games. And I know Super Nintendo was known for the RPGs. Another game, this one's in a case, I don't know why, but Aladdin for Super Nintendo. This, I remember we bought this at Toys R Us, which was in El Monte, right off of Rosemead, off the 10 freeway. There used to be, it's like a UFC gym now, but it used to be a Toys R Us off the 10 freeway in El Monte, California. And we went in there, and once again, I don't know what the occasion was, but it was like you can get a game, and this is the game we got because we had heard so much about it. And yeah, once again, awesome game. Good gameplay. A lot of the Disney licensed games back in the Super Nintendo era were actually low-key good games. You had Toy Story, Aladdin, there's a Pinocchio game, there's Jungle Book, Lion King. A lot of Disney games back in the day were as the youth say now, low-key fire. Donkey Kong Country 3, Dixie Kong's Double Trouble. Another one, the cool artwork. This one came out, I think, 2 years after the first one, so they were expediting these things. But yeah, the black trim. And once again, truth be told, my favorite is the first one, Donkey Kong Country 1. That one I can just, log in and play and play and play and play and not get bored of it. These other games were good, but I have an affinity for the first one. So, but I like the characters. I like the baby. I don't know what his name was. What does it say? His name in the back? Kiddy Kong. Yeah. So, another game that I remember we picked up not knowing much about was Spider-Man and Venom Maximum Carnage. It's like a side-scrolling Final Fight Simpsons type of game, and really, really fun. Really good. Whatever happened to LGN? I remember they were quite prevalent in the early days, but now I haven't heard from them in decades. But anyway, so yeah, here's all the characters. I'm trying to avoid the glare because it's in that case. But really good graphics, good screenshots, really fun game. And once again, felt like you were at the arcade. I don't know if this ever came out in the arcade, but yeah. Good game. And then, like I mentioned earlier, Lion King. So yeah, Disney games were low-key really good. And so this is another game, Lion King. In my opinion, I'd say Aladdin edges this one out just a little bit, but Lion King was fun. Any Disney games do you guys remember? Put it down in the comments. What were your favorite? But yeah, The Lion King. And then the last box that I have here is a game that I remember picking up, and it was like what is this game about? Stunt Race FX. It was a racing game, but once again, it had that Super FX chip, so it had the polygon look of Star Fox, but it was a racing game, and there were small courses. But we spent hours and hours and hours playing this game in the summer one year, and it was fun. Once again, it felt revolutionary. It felt like something special, because I mean, you're now going to polygons. You know, you have that chip, so now you're doing very basic polygons, but polygons on the Super Nintendo. So it was cool. So this is a game that we really enjoyed, and it was fun. And I like on the spines, I think it has a different car on each one. So there's the big rig. There's the like F1 racer. And then there's the pickup truck. But yeah. But anyway, I have my Super Nintendo in the box, but those are put away. I don't want to have to pull that down. But yeah, what were some of your favorite Super Nintendo games, guys? Like I said, this one, Donkey Kong Country, obviously Super Mario World, Super Mario All-Stars, those were, you know, top of our list. But Super Nintendo had a lot of good games, So let me know in the comments what your favorite games were. Like, subscribe, and comment. I'm trying to grow this channel, and I appreciate all the support and help from everybody that watches. And we will catch you on the next one.